walking down the
I do want to say to Donnie and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
my head up.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just
Got it.
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Morris?
Oh, my heart,
Happy 20th anniversary.
my heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
be me and dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself. There's a
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Donnie, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it all the more.
letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be you.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover, entered to win it for the long haul, baby. All right, 20 years ago, the Maryland-Washington Minority Contractors Association was formed. About 11 years ago, Mr. Frazier and his lovely wife, Pat, transformed it into the Maryland-Washington Minority Companies Association. And they advocate for small and minority businesses, not just here in Baltimore, and not just in D.C. You actually go beyond Maryland, Washington, from my understanding of you. Is that right, Mr. Frazier?
Yes, we cover the entire DMV, which is also D for Delaware, DC, Delaware, Maryland, Southern Pennsylvania up to Harrisburg, and Virginia down to Richmond. And we enjoy it.
Mr. Frazier, you can get a phone call on any given day from anybody. What's a typical day like from you? Give me one phone call that you got this week.
Got a call from the CEO of Whiting Turner Contracting Company, Mr. Tim Reagan, and he is, gosh, one of the most giving, warming, enthusiastic CEOs in the region.
He's a poly man. Did you know that? He's a Baltimore Polytechnic Institute man.
He's a great man. Aside from that, he and Calvin.
What high school did you go to, Mr. Frazier?
It's called Mergenthaler Vocational Technical High School.
Is that in Baltimore?
It's in Baltimore City, closer to the county line, but it's in Baltimore. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you off the hook, Mr. Frazier. I don't know about Mervo. You got some friends with you here today, Mr. Frazier, like you always do. You bring a whole swarm of people.
Yes. Some very, very dear friends on the corporate side. We had Miss Vernice Lewis, who is representative from the great Excelon Corporation, and she's in charge of all of their supply diversity. We had Mr. Tommy Evans of Sunbelt Rentals. He's the district manager covering the DMV area. And we have Miss Cherie Briggs, who is a woman business owner of Maryland Fleet Center, which handles maintenance and repairs of all sorts of huge rigs, 18-wheelers. And they also have a fabrication arm where if you're having trouble with your truck or your equipment and you want to enhance it with an idea of how to, let's say, weld or fabricate additional parts to it to enhance it, you can go right there. Cherie is our WBE of the year. As a matter of fact, all three are clear leaders in their industry, and they are being honored at our 20th anniversary spring breakfast coming up Friday, May 12th at Martin's West Catering Hall in Baltimore County.
That's next Friday.
Next Friday.
And it's sold out.
It's been sold out for 30 days. We wish we had a larger place in the area.
So you're just going to embarrass a small outlet like ours. We can't pack that place, but this place is now too small for you. Wow. Wow.
Forgive me. But the plain facts are this, that
you better not go nowhere. You better be there next year. I know that. Well, sorry, do you know that they had Sugar Ray Leonard at one of his events? Sugar Ray Leonard was right there. I was like, hi, Sugar Ray Leonard. He was like, how you doing?
Well, we were fortunate to have Mr. Leonard with us. That was 10 years ago, and he was embarking on a new business venture because he is originally from Prince George's County, Maryland. And so he was embarking on a new venture, and we were assisting him in promoting that.
Well, this is a sidebar. He boxed at Palmer Park. I learned last night that Martin Lawrence boxed at Palmer Park too.
Wow.
Who knew that Martin was a boxer? Okay. Bring these ladies in, Wayne.
Well, again, we have Excelon Vernice Lewis, who is being honored as, let me make sure that I say it correctly, as the best corporate executive for social economic inclusion. That's Vernice Lewis. Vernice?
Hi, well, good morning, and thanks so much for having me on the broadcast today. I got to tell you, it is a real honor to be recognized by Wayne and Pat Frazier and the Maryland Washington Minority Companies Association, because the work that Wayne has done and continues to do in relation to impact with minority business and women-owned businesses in the DMV is just exceptional. It's an honor for us to be associated and to call Wayne a partner of Excelon's in our work to increase opportunities for diverse businesses. So thank you so much.
Vernice, I've been grilled, schooled by a very close friend on diversity, equity, inclusion, and there's an A also, DEIA, anti-racism.
Yes.
And it's more than, you know, it's not enough to say I do DEI, I do DEIA. Mm-hmm. I was schooled that it is a lifestyle. It is a mental, physical, spiritual, cultural, social lifestyle. So when a person who is not, say a white male comes into the room, that expectations have to go out the window of like who I should be or who someone else should be. That it's more than just chatter.
That's right. It's more than just talk, right? And the work that we do, and I can speak specifically about the work that we do in supplier diversity, it is all consuming, right? It is all consuming when you are committed to ensuring that diverse businesses, and especially Black-owned businesses, are getting an opportunity to grow and to do business with companies like Excelon Corporation. I am so honored to work for an organization who has put diversity, equity, and inclusion to the front of the line, right, within the organization. It's something that we are committed to. It is in our DNA. We have the support from the top down from our CEO, Calvin Butler, and all of our utility CEOs as well, who really partner with us to ensure that DEI is really permeated throughout the organization. When we think about supplier diversity, which is the area that I lead specifically, it's a business imperative, right? And it's just the right thing to do to ensure that we are working with local businesses, which we have a focus on at Excelon, to partner with our local diverse businesses to ensure that they're getting opportunities and ensuring that we are partnering with them to help educate them on how to navigate large corporations like Excelon to grow their business and to grow their opportunities.
Well, we're glad that happens, especially in Baltimore, which is a 63% black city, a 73% black and brown city. We have African Americans in prominent positions, from the mayor to the city council president to the comptroller, all the way up to the governor, attorney general, treasurer, and something or other else. But here on the ground, they're mere window dressing if it doesn't translate into change in the streets, like Baltimore City, like the lottery. You know, the lottery. Black people spend a lot of money on the lottery. So we like to see some of those proceeds come back. You know, your thoughts?
Yeah, and that's why it's important that companies like Excelon, and you would know us as BGE down in Baltimore, and as Pepco in DC and Delmarva Power in Delaware. That's why it's important that we have processes like the supplier diversity process that we have that's fully integrated in the strategic sourcing process, right? So we want to ensure that we are working with the community and that we are giving back to the community by way of economic opportunity, right? Because if we think about where's the areas of growth, right? We look to ensure that we're partnering with businesses, you know, who have the potential to grow with us. We're really focused on supplier development, ensuring that we're providing programming where smaller businesses can get an opportunity to learn how to do business with us and to learn what our expectations are of businesses that we seek to partner with.
One thing that's happened here in the city of Baltimore, Mr. Frazier and I were talking about it last week at the B&O Railroad, is the unbundling of contracts. It's one thing to say, hey, we're going to do business with you small fries, whether it's women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned. But it's another thing when there are actual opportunities. Sometimes what I'm getting to is these contracts are so huge.
Yep.
A little small company like mine couldn't even, but if I partner with 2 or 3 other small entities, and then BG&E or Excelon or Delmarva or Pepco, they're working in conjunction, maybe we can unbundle some of this big stuff and spread it around.
Yeah, that's important. And that's where the intentionality comes in, right? Because if companies like ours have to be very intentional about looking for opportunities and creating
It's like that bill is intentional. That bill don't miss.
Opportunities for businesses to partner with us. So with that, you're right. So there's opportunities, you know, we have to look at contracts to see what can be unbundled, but also where we can help, where we encourage our suppliers who are already partners of ours, we encourage them to utilize diverse suppliers as well as subcontractors. So we ensure that's written into the contract language that they should be utilizing, and we set strong targets around their use of diverse suppliers and partnership as well. So all of that comes into play as we look to build the economic impact in the regions, you know, where we're doing business and where we're serving.
Calvin Butler. He's not just a handsome face in a nice suit. He actually is hands-on.
He is. Calvin is our CEO of Excelon Corporation, and you may know him when he was the CEO of BGE. Calvin is probably one of our biggest advocates and supporters in Excelon around all things related to DEI, but especially when we're talking about supplier diversity and increasing the use of diverse firms across the enterprise. Calvin really set the vision for us around establishing aggressive targets around the use of diverse suppliers, because think about it, what isn't measured typically doesn't get accomplished. So Calvin has set expectations for us across the enterprise about the importance of utilizing diverse firms. And last year, our organization spent about $2.9 billion with diverse firms across the enterprise. We achieved about 38% of our total operating spend.
You know, that's very important to us, especially at Be More News and Black USA. We push Black business because we understand. Boyd Rutherford, the former lieutenant governor, said it best, that the more empowered the Black businesses are, the more likely they are to hire other Black people. And I'm sure you know that we face some challenges here in the community, like Sandtown, where we're broadcasting from, home of the Freddie Gray scenario, where so much has happened across the country, not just Freddie Gray, but George Floyd. But when it comes to home,
Yeah.
Sandtown hasn't really seen the type of investment it deserves in probably 20 years since Kurt Schmoke was the mayor. So even with these Black elected officials, it does not automatically translate into the empowerment of the community. Just because we have Blacks in high places doesn't mean that the money comes back home. It just doesn't mean that.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, right? Because we have one of the things about me that I hope you all will know, and I think Wayne, you know this. It's very important to me that we're utilizing the platform that we have for the time that we have it to have impact. Right. I grew up in, a neighborhood similar to that where we didn't have much hope or much opportunity. But as I grew and I learned, I'm able to take those resources back to my community. So again, I'm really pleased and honored to be with an organization like Excelon who recognizes that and who also puts that at the forefront. Not only do we talk the talk, but when we walk it as well.
But check this out. Excelon also, through their network, have highest rankings in customer satisfaction, reliability, and profits back to the investors. All of that by ensuring that they spread the wealth throughout the procurement side. That's amazing.
I got a question for you, Vernice.
Sure.
It's nothing more frustrating. This is not a BG, and I'm not swinging on Exelon BG&E. But when you call one of these customer service numbers, Tommy, you can relate to this, and you're trying to get basic service, whatever it is, and then they send you overseas. You're talking to someone that speaks a different language than you. Let me tell you something. And you're like, dude, I'm paying top dollar for this service, and they send me over to Islamabad. How committed is Exelon to American workers?
We're very
support American.
We're very committed. We're very committed.
Seriously, have you run into it?
No. In all seriousness, we're very committed to developing a growing workforce and to putting folks to work in the community. We're very committed to that.
Because we got to bring those jobs back home.
Through our work, we have a very robust workforce development process and workforce development office, very committed to making those opportunities available to those in the Baltimore community.
Very good. So, Cherie, please tell us about you and your business.
Okay, so I own a fleet center that we maintain, repair commercial vehicles, whether they're small or large pieces of equipment. Our goal is to keep those trucks on the road so they're making money, and we do a lot of work. Some of our customers work for Exelon, and it's really important keeping those trucks up and running for storm control, things like that. And our goal here is just to get them back on the road as quick as possible. And we do that by having a great staff, a great team, people that have a lot of knowledge, that pretty much anything is thrown at us that we can jump on it and get it done and get them back out there serving the community.
What's a typical day like for you, Cherie?
My day usually starts about 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm here anywhere from 5:30 to 6 and wrap things up about 7. So I'd like to get here before my employees and leave after. I feel like that sets the tone for them to work just as hard as I do.
Reginald F. Lewis, he ran TLC Beatrice. He had the same philosophy that he would get to work before everybody else and leave after everybody. That's got to be quite intimidating for somebody that works for you. You're always here.
They just come in earlier and they work later. It's typical for them not to rush out the door at quitting time. And it like I said, I've created a great team, and it starts with me. So I have to be out there just like they are. And if I'm working hard, they're going to work hard for me.
So, Cherie, was this always your goal to be an entrepreneur?
Well, I've been in business for about 30 years. This is not my first business. My first business I started with my husband. He passed away in 2005. And I ran the business with him. I did more of the office work and coordinating the jobs and things like that. And when he passed away, obviously I was the sole business owner. So there was a lot of things that I had to learn that I never thought I would. We had a fleet of vehicles, and we serviced street sweeping, and we did major snow removal. So I had to get out in the shop, and I had to start learning what these trucks were all about, and whether it was changing the oil or just learning those trucks, so that if I had anybody working on them or if they weren't available, I can get in there. So it went from office work to out in the shop, out in the field. And then I learned that it was really important to build that team because I couldn't do it by myself. Sold that company and did a little consulting here and there, and then opened up the fleet center. My biggest challenge in my other business was keeping that fleet running. And I just have a passion for that. And I take that to my customers and try to save them money, keep the equipment out there. And I love it.
Sure, I got to ask you this question because you mentioned loss, and God bless you in losing your husband, and congratulations on your perseverance. But any advice to other entrepreneurs, especially, we just come through a pandemic. I lost so many people. I just stopped counting at one point. It was like cousins over here, cousins over there, my brother, my sister. Any advice on persevering through that? The mental. I'm talking about the mental, because if my mind is not right, nothing else is going to work.
I had a couple choices. I could have stayed home. My son was 15. Or I could have kept running the family business. And I'm glad I chose to run the family business because mentally it kept me sane. I was busy, just for one, I wanted to keep the business that he had helped me grow continuing. I wanted to show my son how to be an entrepreneur, which he is today. And I don't know what would have happened if I took the other road. So I remained strong. I kept pushing, and I'm here where I'm at today. But again, I couldn't have done it without the team that I have built over the years.
Okay, Wayne already has questions.
Customers or employees, it's very important to do that.
So one last question. Your son.
Yes.
So you incorporated him into the business. Did he inherited it? Because I'm the son of an undertaker, and I used to get dragged to stuff that I did not want to go to, including working in the darn funeral home. But hey, you want to make some money, don't you? But any advice on incorporating our children into the business?
So my son was still in school, but he was in VOTEC, and it got a little crazy. And he was graduating, and I'm like, I really need your help with the business. And he came over, and he helped me with a lot of things, but it wasn't challenging enough for him. But he learned just the back of it, where you got to work hard, just things he watched me and his dad do over the years. And he went off and he created his own business. And today he's 33, and he has many more employees than I do. And he works just as hard as I do. And some people don't want to run the family business, but he makes me very proud because he continued one business. So
that's a plus. My daddy was a film director. I'm a journalist.
Right.
I helped him, but I did not want to run a funeral home.
Right. So we're both in business, but he didn't want to clean streets.
No, I want to hang out with Wayne Frazier. He knows a lot of. Have you been to this event before, Cherie?
What's that?
Have you been to this breakfast before?
No, I have not. This will be my first. And
oh my God.
Yes. And Wayne, just thank you, Patricia, Ebony. You guys have been just awesome. and you give a lot back to the community, and you've helped me, and I really appreciate it.
Well, let me tell you, Cherie, politicians line up to get to this place. Nobody misses this event. I know they got big events elsewhere like the Tars Crab Feast and all of that. Nobody, especially if they're running for office, Vernice, nobody misses this event.
I know that's right.
I'm not going to miss it this year.
It is the place to be.
And early in the morning.
Well, we have Tommy Evans here this year. As I said, Tommy's originally from Richmond, and he now is the longtime employee with Sunbelt Rentals, and he's their district manager in Washington, D.C. That's where his office is. And Sunbelt Rentals is just phenomenal in that they offered to all minority-owned businesses, trades in the DMV at their 29 locations a 25% discount on any rental of equipment and tool. And that is significant. When you imagine, I spoke to a contractor the other day when I was speaking. He said, Mr. Frazier, had I known about that, I might have won that bid, because that 25%, I had to rent all of this equipment. I could have gotten that, and that would have lowered my bid by 25%. And I may have won that particular procurement because of it. And that's the significance of Sunbelt Rental. And Tommy Evans he exemplifies the virtues of Sunbelt Rentals. Tommy, tell us about it.
All right, thanks, Wayne and Donnie. Truly appreciate y'all having us on this show here. It's an honor, and looking forward to the breakfast next week. Just to touch on your topic that y'all were talking about, how big it is. So I've been to a lot of these events. I didn't really know what to expect last year, which was my first year there, and I was amazed. I mean, I don't even know how many people were there. 800, 1,000 people. The comptroller, Maryland's up on stage talking, and I don't know. I just didn't expect that, and it's a really good event, and I'm truly looking forward to it. It's even better this year because of the reason why the three of us are sitting here on your show, Donnie. Truly an honor here. So, Sunbelt rolled out formally our ESG program late 2021, 2022. There's a lot of core components that's involved in it that has always been a part of who we are, but it's good for us to formally roll this out. It involves a lot of different aspects, but I would say that the biggest part for us, for Sunbelt, is the people and the communities that we serve. For me, having a group of people under me, close to 300, just like Vernice said, I'm in a unique position here to really hire local talent. And to Donnie's point, I don't always get the most diverse of candidates in my inbox for job applications. So that is a huge part of this space for me and my platform. It's just like I said, Wayne, that day when we were at Maryland Live and I stood on stage with you. And kind of to Donnie's point just a little bit ago, I know that you didn't say it this way, Donnie, but I guess I need to paraphrase it. What we have to do, and what Sunbelt is trying to do, and what they give me the autonomy to do, is to authentically approach the community and not a check the box type exercise. We truly find the right people that have the talent. And our goal is to have our businesses, our brick and mortars, and our suppliers look like the communities in which we exist.
So, Tommy, I was hanging out with a politician, I won't call names, but they were going to the Latino festival trying to get some votes. Now, the candidate wasn't Latino, and nobody on the staff was Latino. And I said to the candidate, you need to get a Latino person. You at the Latino festival. Sometimes we miss the base hits, We're going for the home runs, and it's just base hits, connecting with everyday people.
That's right. It's, different milestones. Speaking of that, I mean, I guess this is a pretty big milestone, maybe for a lot of people, definitely for us. couple years ago when COVID, probably about 9 months, 12 months into COVID, I think we all realized that there was a significant tailwind with the social and the governance and the environmental side of this, which really is ESG. And Sunbelt made it at the forefront of our goals is to be a leader in the industry. So much so as we started a 3-year business plan, which is public to the community because we're publicly traded, called Sunbelt 3.0. Part of that, it's a very cool business plan. It's pretty in depth there, but part of that is lead with ESG, which means that we're going to invest in our people, our communities, get involved with charities, offer a greener solution, to the communities through what we do. To that point, I'd like to just, share this one thing. Renting equipment in and of itself, sharing it, actually helps, carbon emissions. It helps lower them and the embodied carbons just by sharing equipment. So I think that, not only is equipment rental becoming more popular in general, but now, with the components of what I just said, it's even kind of turbo boosting it, which helps us have a even better platform to do all these things that, we're discussing here.
John, what is the ultimate goal for Sunbelt? You want to control rentals along the East Coast, across America, Southeast? What's the corporate goal?
So I would say that, obviously we are an equipment rental company. What I don't want to say is that we are an investment company, because some companies that get that are publicly traded like us sometimes forget about all the people and they think about their stock ticker. And I can tell you right now, being a 20-year Sunbelt Rentals employee, that is not Sunbelt. Sunbelt aims to become a household name, through the growing industry, and aim to provide our customers and, even homeowners, do-it-yourselfers with good solutions, customer service, and quick response time by way of clustering markets like it is here in the DMV. So to Wayne's point, we have 30 locations right around DC, but if you add Baltimore in there, it gets up to 30. We have 1,200 locations here, in North America. But, at the end of the day, Sunbelt's goal is to be the #1 equipment provider. In and around that, we have a, unique opportunity to do these things that, just were mentioned here. On the supplier side, Sunbelt Rentals also gives us in the field the autonomy to go out and get what we need. Not necessarily on the larger equipment that we rent, because we typically have to, go with the global brands, but on the smaller scale with things like lubes, the office stuff, there is a ton of different categories. Sunbelt gives us the autonomy here to build local relationships. So if there's people that are pursuing us, it's up to us to, vet them as a supplier, make sure that we do our best in implementing best practices, monitor that whole process. And Donnie, on that point, I went on your LinkedIn page for this event and I pasted a link for anybody to go in there and apply to be a supplier for Sunbelt Rentals.
So let me ask you, when it comes to Sunbelt, what's the give back? What's one of your favorite philanthropic activities?
So I would say the Gary Sinise Foundation. Sunbelt Rentals has a large veteran program. Last year, 2022, I don't remember all 3 of the awards, but we won 3 national awards. Actually, one of them was bronze for vets. And, this is something that we've been involved in for a very long time. I say very long, 5, 6, 7 years, and our contributions keep growing. If I were to tell you a number, I'd probably be pulling it out of thin air, but I know it's at least $3, $4, $5 million that goes to Gary Sinise Foundation, which is for veterans. It's an important piece of what we do here. But I would say more importantly, Sunbelt really tries to invest in our people rather than, I heard our CEO say one time, I think there was one of our competitors that was doing a national commercial, and I heard him say one time, "All that's fine and good," and I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but we estimate the cost of that is X, and what we want to do is give our employees a 5% out of cycle increase, right? So in the past 2 years during COVID, Sunbelt Rentals gave 3 different increases that added up to 13% for all skilled trades. That's 20,000 employees, Donnie, where Sunbelt, out of cycle when there were other businesses that were closing down. Right when COVID hit, there was a conference call that we had, and our CEO told us that we are not going to close any locations. We're still going to pay everybody everything that we promised you at the start of the year. And, we're going to still add locations, and we're going to put a new plan out through this. So if you roll all that up, I know that was kind of long-winded. Sunbelt truly wants to be the number one provider, but in and around that, we want to give back to our people. We want to develop our people. We want to truly hire people in the communities that we work.
So let me just get this one last question in. How are you on supporting American? I was talking to an escalator repairman. He was over in the subway on a Sunday, and he fixes the escalator. Now anybody can fix the elevator, but he was explaining that the escalator is like some really unique work. And what I'm getting to is the parts. His biggest challenge was parts. I'm sure Cherie has to deal with the parts and the frustrations that so many of his parts, they come from overseas. And so how do we become stronger at home? What's Sunbelt's commitment to being stronger at home?
Good question. So it's got a couple different aspects to it. Our largest purchasing component is the equipment, our assets. And there's a lot of that. If a piece goes down, we have to go to that manufacturer wherever they have the parts, right? But that's only a piece of what we spend, which is a huge piece of the pie. But the stuff that I mentioned earlier is all of the different ins and outs of the day here at all these branches, which is 1,200 total in North America. To answer your question, Sunbelt truly tries to have all made in USA suppliers as we can. Obviously, we can't force somebody to sign up with us. I've talked to people. I talked to people last year at the spring breakfast to try to get them into our vendor program. To answer your question there, I can't tell you that there is a specific thing that I can say other than each branch, it's not a franchise, but we have the autonomy, and we truly try to buy made in the USA. So if there's anybody on this call right here that's local in the DMV area that has something that may be of service to us, and there's a lot of stuff that we use, if you come knocking, Sunbelt may just sign you up and start using your services.
How about you, Mr. Frazier? Is it important to bring them back home, bring those jobs home?
Well, most definitely. I grew up in the blue-collar city of Baltimore, where the harbor was once lined with fabricating companies, factories, producers, and so forth. And now I'm probably a very few. So yes, most definitely. However, it's much smarter today. That old smokestack industry can't come back that way. It cannot, because we're concerned about their green space. I know I am. So, and I think our president is doing an excellent job in bringing back, or not bringing back, but bringing to our shores the production of those semiconductors and those chips. And one of our prime contractors, Turner Construction, who is an affiliate with us, just signed a $4 billion contract to build these facilities in Ohio. So yes, it's coming back slowly, but it's coming back, and I'm very proud of it. But what I would like to challenge, though, is that we have Vernice from Excelon on here, and we have Tommy, and we have Cherie, and Excelon has so many diverse suppliers that utilize the types of equipment that Sunbelt offers, and especially in the Baltimore or the DMV market where Tommy's from, do you think we can create some sort of synergy where we can get the two of you giants together to figure out a way how we can get that 25% discount into the hands of those who could definitely use it and would increase their bottom line as well? How about that?
Breaking news right here on the Donnie Glover Show. Supply diversity, breaking news.
I think we always need to have those conversations, right, to understand where those synergies are and what we might be able to do to partner together. So we're absolutely definitely open to talking about it.
Yeah, I think both of us are two big players in the market, and we can definitely take that platform again and come together as partners and trying to even go further inside the community. Something that's very neat about this whole setup here is the first thing that you mentioned, Wayne. Whiting Turner is a big customer for Sunbelt. So is Excelon, which you have BGE, Aldridge Electric, Delmarva Power, just like you said. Cherie and I met, and I've been trying to get some of my trucks in there. I don't know if any of them have made it in there, but I would have hoped that they would have by now. So I'd like to say that we are a customer, but I don't know if they made them in there. It's just, the networking is cool to sit here.
It's very important.
Yeah, and important that we all, organizations like ours, all partner together, right, to drive the economic impact for our local regions.
Right.
Sure.
So Mr. Frazier, it seems like the breakfast is the kickoff, or it's a meeting point, but maybe you need to have some more of sessions. Like maybe you need to be on this show a little more regularly, Mr. Frazier, with your,
Well, I agree. I would love to come on more often, and I would love to schedule other major corporate clients to join as well, because it's crazy that all of a sudden we have so many major corporations in America who actually care about our well-being, about supporting their consumers. So often in the past, it was just about sell. Well, those that you were selling to are your consumers. They buy your products. I recall Frank Kelly from BGE. He's retired now. He used to say, Wayne, all of these companies are our customers. So we have to take into consideration how they feel, what they say, the direction that they're going. And that is just so profound that we can make so many things happen together, and then include companies like Maryland Fleet Center. And all they want to do is provide your fleet with the proper maintenance, service, and repairs, so that when you need that fleet running, when you need it operating, and especially when these major storms hit, that they're ready to go and service.
Mr. Frazier, I just want to get in there. Can we go around the horn? Cherie, Vernice, Tommy, what advice would you give young people? It's funny how time flies. 1 minute I'm a dad, now I'm a granddad. But what advice would you give young people in terms of a career? Any advice you would give them, Cherie?
I mean, I have a young staff here, and we do a lot for them, personal development, things like that. And just, you have to go in there and just look at the big picture, look what's available to you, and just start grabbing it and learning it. And, just surround yourself with really good mentors, and you will go places.
Yeah, I would agree. Mentorship is very important, right? As young professionals develop their careers. If I look back at my career, the role that mentors have played have really helped me as I've grown at Excelon, because I started as an intern in Philadelphia at Excelon, and the role that mentors have played have been critical. I would also encourage young people today to look at careers in STEM, right? So science, technology, engineering, and math. Look, those are the jobs of the future. And that's really where they should be looking for opportunity. And also just leveraging, all the opportunity and all the advantages that they have today that we didn't have, right? Back then, what technology offers, the various resources that exist today.
Vernice, you can't even go to Royal Farms and get a darn coffee. I'm standing there waiting on somebody to come and scan my coffee. And then I see young guy over there, he's out the door. And it took me a minute to catch on, Wayne, that damn, you do it yourself.
So that would be my advice.
Tommy.
That's a good question. I would say that
the jobs of the day, the jobs of last week are gone.
Yeah. So I would say that attitude is more than 50%. It's a lot more than 50%. And that's more than just at the interview and in your first couple of days. Because if I have a good attitude and I'm showing up every day, it's about my mindset. I think somebody said that earlier. Donnie, I think that was you that said that. Mindset's everything. If I have a good attitude and I go in there, I'm going to learn stuff. First I need to make sure that I pick a company that has opportunities. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be the place that you have to stay forever. It would be cool if it was. But we have to be open to things, and we have to be on time. We can't not show up to work. I mean, those are pretty simple things. But in today's world at Sunbelt, if you have a good attitude and you're on time, we can teach you anything. And Sunbelt promotes from within. So the sky's the limit.
Yeah. So, Tommy, you mentioned the veterans. Now, this is baseball season. I think you can handle a little curveball. A lot of the veterans come home and they may want to work, but sometimes they have PTSD. Or sometimes the veterans, they're scarred. There's a suicide rate that's very high in that community. Any special efforts for our veterans, for those people, men and women who have risked their lives, they've been in war zones?
Absolutely. Yes. So Sunbelt has a significant veterans program. We have a senior director of our veterans program that is an ex-Navy SEAL himself. And he literally goes around and meets with veterans in different markets, has gatherings, has support groups for vets, by themselves. There's HR call lines like employee assistance program. Sunbelt does not want to not hire a veteran if they tell us they have a case of PTSD. For us, that is not something that's going to have us, look the other way. We want to embrace that, embody that, and help those individuals. I mean, they've given so much back to us. I don't have all of the details of our entire veterans program, or even maybe some of the high level ones, but please trust and believe that we have a lot going on there. I mean, I just had a call yesterday with my boss, the vice president, and another guy in the veterans program about the Memorial Day Parade and the Veterans Day Parade that's coming, where Sunbelt is supplying equipment, and we're going to be involved in, some of the happenings there. It's pretty cool to see.
Here in Baltimore, I can tell you, between the Ravens and the Orioles, it's nothing to see the Ravens in the community. And I grew up an Orioles fan, but today, 2023, is nothing to see the Ravens. You can see the Ravens anywhere, everywhere, especially the holiday times. And I'm not saying we don't see the Orioles. I don't know. Do you see the Orioles in the community, Wayne?
No. I see more Philadelphia Eagles than I see Orioles. So that tells you something.
Yeah, I must be hanging with the famous people. I don't see any of them.
I'm just saying we got to take care of home, wherever home is. Because if we don't, like here in Baltimore, and it's not a popular topic. Someone mentioned it earlier, but mass incarceration. There are a lot of people who have been disaffected by mass incarceration. I mean, now, Tommy, like somebody might have got locked up for weed 5-10 years ago. Now it's legal to sell weed in dispensaries, but that doesn't change this guy who court this charge back in 1980. And so the world is changing. I mean, now cops pull people over, and I'm not at all advocating for drug use, not at all. But I'm just saying we have a lot of things to heal in this country. And I know in the Black community, mass incarceration is just off the charts.
I think for the first step of healing, this is a personal belief, is that I believe that we have to address the confrontational issues, and there are many, in a non-confrontational way, right? I think that's the first step. Sometimes, we as Americans like to get confrontational first, figure out the rest later, and that doesn't help us. I think we've come a long way, and some of it still have a long way to go. Just like at Sunbelt, we have come a long way, doing a great job, in my opinion, but yet our road is so long, and really there's no end game there, right? We have to keep learning, things keep changing, and we have to adapt to those, just like we do as a community.
No, I agree with the right attitude. The right attitude. Attitude determines altitude, right? Cherie, you're quiet. Cherie, what are you?
Yes, it does.
So, Vernice, how can a diverse supplier who is looking to perhaps do business with one of the subsidiaries, how can they get connected with Excelon?
Yeah. Thanks so much. That's a great question. So the first thing they need to do is to go to our website, exceloncorp.com, and register with us as a supplier. On that site that shares, we have the information about the categories of spend, the types of products and services that we source and that we purchase. And we give suppliers an opportunity there to input their information. They can also reach out to me or someone from my team we have an email address, supplier.diversity@exceloncorp.com. We want to learn about the products and services that they offer. We want to learn about the work that they do.
Diversity.
Supplier.diversity@exceloncorp.com. That's our email address. I'll also give out my personal email address, which is vernice.lewis@Excelon, EXELONCORP.com would be the appropriate. And they can also, again, the registration tool is the first step. That really gives us an opportunity to learn about what the products and services are that the supplier provides. My email address is Vernice, VERNICE.Lewis, LEWIS, @ExcelonCorp.com, EXELONCORP.com. I have a team of supplier diversity professionals that we will connect you to, and that will look to learn more about the business that you offer.
Is that right?
No C in Excelon.
I keep throwing this C in there. Keep messing up your brand. And I got five twice. It didn't even get started.
But that's the first step.
Right.
Tommy, how folks get in touch with you?
Y'all can go to www.sunbeltrentals.com, click the About button, scroll down, and you can click on the supplier link, which that's the same link that I went in and copy and pasted on this show on LinkedIn. I know many might not go to that, but that link is on there. I'm also currently working on trying to get a local DC, Baltimore area diverse supplier email address set up. For us here locally, I couldn't get it done by the start of this show here. So, my apologies for that. Dare I say what that email address is going to be, and it's wrong, so I'm not going to say it. But my email is tommy.evans, EVANS, @sunbeltrentals.com. You can email me or just go to the website and fill that out, and that's how it all starts.
And Cherie, how can they reach you?
Our website is MD Fleet Center. My email is Cherie, Cherie, at MD Fleet Center. And they can feel free to reach out to me, whether it's for, taking care of their fleet. And we also have job opportunities here as well. So I appreciate that.
And where you're located, it's right on 695. I mean, right off of the exit. So it's easy to get to you.
Yes.
So you said Cherie at mdfleetcenter.com?
You got it.
Okay.
Correct.
Hey, I just need to add there that on the email address for me, there was a dot, Tommy.Evans. Yeah, so there's a dot after Tommy, just for anybody that's gotten that down.
All right. Tommy.Evans at sunbeltrentals.com. Supplier.diversity at Excelon Corp. EXELONCORP. EXELONCORP.com. And then for Cherie, MD Fleet Center. Cherie at mdfleetcenter.com. There you go, Mr. Frazier. What do you think?
Oh, I think that this show was the best. And by the way, Vernice will be addressing our audience next week. And we are so looking forward to her words of wisdom and thought.
Okay, I can't let him get out of here. Hold tight, Mr. Frazier. Cherie and Vernice, any advice? I have a daughter and I have a granddaughter. Any advice to our daughters? I mean, males and females are socialized differently in this country. It's just any advice. I want a strong daughter. I want a strong granddaughter. I want them to run things. I want them to be a boss if they want to. I want them to speak up. I want them to take the bull by the horns, not be intimidated, whether it's all men in the room or not. Help me out with that.
Vernice, you want to go first?
Sure. I would say they have to use their voice, use their platform, right? For women, especially women of color, sometimes we don't always use the full breadth of our resources. We should use those, use our voice, not be afraid to speak up, not be afraid to stand up, and not be afraid to, to express ourselves. Very important that we have strong role models, right? Because there were other women who were executives at Excelon who really played a huge part in my development as a professional, who took their time with me to mentor me and to help me learn and to navigate a corporation. Also important because when you have a strong education, the proper education, no one can take that from you, right? And excellence always prevails.
There you go.
Cherie?
So when I was on my own, it's about that circle of people. And I reached out and, the mentorship, and just push yourself and don't give up. I couldn't give up. And I'm glad I didn't. And the opportunities, just keep going after them and stay strong.
All right, Tommy, we're not going to leave you high and dry. What's your advice to other corporations, other big businesses around America?
I would say that we have to authentically approach this to where the people truly feel that we care about them, not just right here, but right here, because that's what's so important. I mean, we can say a bunch of different things, but the people in the field that we touch every day as leaders, everything rises and falls on leadership. As a corporation, as individuals, it's all about mindset and attitude. If we are not walking the walk, our team will find us out. And it's not going to be long before everything we try to say around those subjects become an eye roller conversation, So we have to have a good plan. We have to walk the walk, be authentic, which that takes a lot of shucking and jiving when stuff happens. On the spot, we got to be able to react in a way that stands behind exactly what we're saying. It's not about being right. It's about doing what's right. Even if we know the other party's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I tell you, try not to be like the city of Baltimore. I've seen a lot of money from Obama to this current president. They promise money for Baltimore. And then when our leaders get the money, they send the money everywhere except where it's needed. Like Eddie Brown, he runs Brown Capital Management, manages billions of dollars. Black guy, pretty filthy rich. But he says something I'll never forget. He said, have the best compensation package in the region. I'm just trying to get these local leaders to understand, before you go dumping a bunch of money on the harbor, which is kaput as we speak, like nothing, then make sure first you invest in the neighborhoods, because that's where Vernice's customers are. And if she has customers, then Cherie and you, Tommy, have customers. But we don't take care of what we already have. You got to take care of home first.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thought. I know, Wayne, you didn't know where that was coming from. But take care of home. Take care of East Baltimore. Take care of West Baltimore. That's where the people live. They want to go, oh, well, we're going to take care of East Harbor. All right, well, that's nice. We're going to build Port Covington. But take care of home first. Your base. It's common sense to me. All right, Mr. Frazier.
Hey, I just want to thank you once again, Donnie, for allowing us to share our thoughts here this morning. You have a dynamic group of folks that just shared with you. They are leaders, they are employers, and they care. And Pat and I, we care. And we're just pleased to be a part of the Donnie Glover Morning Show.
Thank you, Donnie. Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Wayne.
Thanks so much.
All right.
Good morning, world.
Take care.